Live from Los Angeles, welcome to Good Morning La La Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
Hi, I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jessamine Moyer. This is Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you Monday through Friday live at 9 a.m. on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Now also available on Apple TV, Roku, and Twitch.
Today is Friday Feeling. It's all about dating, love, and relationships. Our favorite day of the week. We come together each morning to know the truth and have some fun today. Why not? So we're going to talk about how to create extraordinary friendships in a dysfunctional time.
That's right, putting the fun in dysfunctional. There it is.
Over here and sit next to me. Okay, that's one of my favorite songs right now, Foster the People. I'm all about the music vibes, especially on Friday. I'm so excited to welcome to the show our special guest this morning. Good morning, everyone.
Hi. Good morning.
I'm so happy to be here. Oh, look at all that energy.
Love it.
I'm feeling it today. Sterling Hawkins, he is a master innovator, keynote speaker, known globally across the world. Good morning, Sterling.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
Oh, it's great to see you here. So here at Good Morning La La Land, we like to know what your morning routine is. How do you start your day?
Well, for me, it's all about getting up and moving. So I get up every day, even this morning at like 5 a.m., and I do some yoga. I breathe a little bit, and then I get into my day.
We knew we him.
It's LA, so I feel like it's cost of entry out here sometimes.
Exactly. Breath work once in LA. Well, thank you so much for being here. Alexa, good morning, gorgeous.
Hi, good morning. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, the founder of Everybody Deserves Love. Look at all this love coming from this one today.
EBDL all the way.
So what's your morning routine, Alexa? How do you start your day?
Morning routine, oh my gosh, it changes even though I'd love to say that it's consistent. Ooh, it's a goal to keep it consistent, but it never is. It never is, especially when you live a life of Los Angeles dreams, right? Chasing LA dreams. I would say the first thing I do in the morning is definitely greet my dog. I have a Chihuahua named Peanut, and he's like the love of my life. So I say hi to him in the morning, and then after that, I would have to agree with movement. If the schedule allows for it, I definitely go straight to a workout. Like, get dressed, go to boot camp, go run in, or go to the beach, like anywhere to just start moving, whether it's for 30 minutes or 2 hours. Definitely my favorite thing to do in the morning. And then if not, at least step outside for a couple minutes before I hop into the car and drive to LA or drive through LA traffic. Just to see the sun and the sky, I'm for it.
Traffic is where I practice my breath work.
Good to practice pretty much anything. You're standing still most times.
True.
So.
Yeah, America's kitchen sweetheart. Good morning.
Hi, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's all things cake, isn't it gorgeous?
Oh, always.
In the house. Thank you so much for being here. Our Friday just got a little sweeter.
So my morning doesn't start with cake. Well, it depends on the day, I guess. I'm an early riser too, because I feel like I just want to get up, get going. I get my workout in. It's usually more of a high intensity, although afterwards I try to have a few moments of peace and meditation and self-reflection. And then I'm getting my kids up. So then the madhouse and the mad rush of getting everyone to school starts and get them off. And then usually right after they leave for school, I'm starting on baking and recipe testing and working on my website and
love it.
Doing a little mom life.
Before the kids is a win in and of itself.
Thank you.
It's a sweet life. Good morning, Dr. Kate. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Hi. How's it going?
Oh, it's better now that you're here. We're so excited to get to talk to you more later in the show. But tell us a little bit about your morning routine.
Well, I would have to mention that it's amazing that everyone already spoke about movement in the morning. I think that that's an ideal thing that we like to get out, but it's not always right for everyone. And I can say for myself, when I do morning workouts, I'm just completely wiped out. So that's a cortisol thing I figured out. But so for me, I have to stick with something more gentle. Usually, like you mentioned, breath work. I do like a Kundalini yoga, kind of like 3-minute fast motion breath thing, and seems to center the energy.
Oh, well, thank you very much for being here, everybody, on this Friday. We're so excited to talk to you all more later in the show.
Right. Okay, I gotta say, we have new stools, and I can actually dance a little bit more.
You can, right?
I can,
like, more freedom.
Yeah, the other ones were like, oh, well, I feel like I was gonna like fall off them, so I'd be like, in the box, what do you call it, in the box?
Yeah.
I just keep it in the box.
You gotta know where your sweet spot is in dancing.
Yeah, now I can now I can full on like get way over here and get some leverage off of it.
That stool is giving you at least 2 or 3 more solid moves.
People are just gonna tune in for those moves now, Erin. Jeez. So what's going on, everybody? What's up? How was your day yesterday?
Well, I know somebody who had a great day. You look like you had a great night at LA Fashion Week.
Oh, you guys, this was wild. It was wild. I had so much fun. So I went down to LA Fashion Week, and it's sponsored by Art Hearts Fashion. I was with them in New York City and now in LA, and I was covering it for Fashion News Live. So I'm standing on the end of the runway, and the first shows have just finished. Michael Costello's show was so beautiful, and we're interviewing some of the people. And the creative art director for the whole LA Fashion Week comes up and she goes, I need you. I said, for what? And she says, I need you to walk in the next show. And I thought, oh my God,
it's
here
on.
we go. So I hand over the microphone, turn off the camera, and I said, I'm sorry, I gotta go. I gotta be a part of this show. They rushed me down, fits perfectly. It's kind of crazy. They're like, here's a harness. And I was like, harness? What did I agree to? But it was so absolutely beautiful. It was for Candace Coco. She is an incredible couture designer. She was one of the finalists on Project Runway. It was a huge show. She's shown in New York, Paris, Milan, LA, London, and I got to be a part of her show. And they rushed me through hair and makeup, and next thing you know, I'm down the runway. So
oh, I love it.
It was so much fun. It was a great time. We got some great interviews for Fashion News Live, and I even got to be a part of the show, so I got the full Fashion Week experience.
Wow.
Was that the most fun show you've ever done?
You know what?
You've done quite a few.
I've done quite a few, and I will say though, it was so fun because it was totally unexpected.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I wasn't expecting that at all, and then to be back in it, you know, I'd done my first show that I'd done over 6 years after my accident. Just this past week, I did that charity show, and so to be back there and just doing that and being in my element and feeling totally like fierce and empowered, and that's what her line is all about, is just kind of like breaking the rules. I felt like, you know what, I'm breaking the rules. I'm over 30, I'm rocking this freaking runway, like, screw the rules. I'm doing exactly what I'm meant to be doing, and that was really fun. It was really, it was a cool experience.
I love that. I feel like life is so much more challenging and so much more rewarding as a woman. Like, fashion shows for me as a guy, I did it for like 12 years, and there were a couple, you know, shows that were really, really fun, but they weren't nearly as stressful or as much fun as the women, I feel.
Oh, but I will say, so I never worn those shoes, and that happened. I walked right out of the shoe. Here I go, LA Fashion Week, and I'm feeling amazing, and the shoe walks off, and like a pro, kept it on my toe, kept going. You could totally see, I was like, no, I'm that girl right now.
You gotta keep moving.
I think it's important, like, I think it shows a principle of life. Like, when you show up, like, miracles can happen.
Yeah.
Like spirit can't really do its work if you don't show up. Like,
100%.
and it's all about the relationship. So just showing up, you know, miracles happen for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And just showing up and really embracing who I am and what stage of life that I'm in right now. And I was, because I was nervous, I was like, geez, you know, these girls are so beautiful and they're younger than me, and that imposter syndrome that we've been talking about on the show kind of fired up, and I thought, but wait a minute, they came and they picked me, and they said, we need you. And I just have to show up and help them right now. That's all I have to do. And so I did, and it was great.
I love that.
So yeah, you'll have to check out some behind the scenes for some of the Getty images and coverage on my Instagram.
How about you, Rob?
Oh boy, just clients, a billion podcasts. I just continue the podcast. It's great. It's easy for me because I don't have to travel all over the city.
So what's been the most like intriguing conversation that you've had on a podcast?
Great question. So I love focusing on happiness, of course. I'd say the most difficult conversations are the ones where people are trying to say this is what men like or men do, and this is what women like and women do. It's just like you can't go anywhere with that. I have a hard time with the whole like divine, feminine, and masculine. I do too.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
I do too.
Like,
yeah.
I don't identify with any of that
at all. I mean, I'm still you know, I'm still struggling with like how old I am. People ask me, and I'm like, 25. Oh no, I'm not 25. 26.
Well, you look at it. But what do you mean you're struggling with the masculine and feminine? Tell me about that.
Oh, I just don't identify. I don't identify like what is feminine anymore, what is masculine, and you have to be more feminine to call in the masculine. Like, I feel like it's just like, I feel like I'm both that within, I'm complete. It's going to draw in, you know, a whole and complete masculine and feminine person. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like you have to be only feminine to pull in the masculine. And like, I don't identify with that at all.
I totally agree with you. Like, yeah, I can, people say, oh, assertive or more introverted, extrovert. Those things all make sense to me, but the divine masculine, divine feminine thing is something that doesn't resonate with me quite as deeply.
Yeah,
because I don't know exactly what they each mean.
Yeah, and it's fine if that's what you know, I'm like resistant or like that's wrong or anything like that. I just don't identify with it. Yeah.
How was your night? It looked like you had a great night.
Oh my gosh, I had the most beautiful evening. So we had an evening up in the hills at this gorgeous, gorgeous home with 20 women. And let me tell you, it was extraordinary because we came in, it was just this beautiful house. They had like a formal setting outside, like a big square table where everyone sat around, but we were first inside. We sat down as 20 women and we had a meditation all together. We went around the room and everyone basically said what they do and what their mission is, what they're up to. I mean, these are really extraordinary women up to huge things, huge platforms. And then we went to dinner and we paired off into 4, and we had 4 minutes each to talk about what we're up to, what we're struggling with, what we're trying to create, whatever's there. And then everyone went around after, because we had like 5 courses or something like that, and everyone stood up and they got one ask. So they got to talk about what they do and what they're really looking for and what they like to call in, basically setting the intention and asking, you know, the universe and all the women there to do that. And so it was just one of those nights that I'm like, this is just what you got to create. Like in today's world, if you want extraordinary relationships, you've got to put it out there and be extraordinary. And these women are just over the top.
Oh, I love that. It's great to have that experience, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of extraordinary, we had an extraordinary group of guests yesterday on this show. It's always incredible to be able to come here and to be inspired on #ThoughtThursday. Let's take a look at the rewind. Well, I'm so super excited because LA Fashion Week is kicking off tonight. The 11th, 12th, and 13th at the Majestic. It's powered by Art Hearts Fashion. I'm really excited. There's between 3 and 6 shows every day. I'm going to be hosting with Fashion News Live downtown. So it'll be really fun. Stay tuned. Check out my Insta. I'll give you some behind the scenes at Jeslyn.
And at the end of the day, my goal is really just to live out his purpose in the most positive light.
Powerful.
Trish's was created to express aspects of myself. The way I explain it is to express the Freudian constructs of self, which I know sounds so nerdy.
Happiest is when I'm doing anything that I really love, and that's all of them. Like, I love every single one of them equally. Acting, singing, when I'm in the studio, I love it as much as I'm on set.
Oh my goodness, this is so fascinating. How come nobody knows about this miracle fruit?
Well, it's actually from West Africa, so it's been in the US probably since the 60s, not very popular, but within the last 5 to 10 years, it's been a lot more popular now.
We can go far away to a sunny place. Good morning, LALALAND. We can fly to a place and hide so we can spend time. I miss the cuddling, miss the kissing, and miss the way you touch me. Why don't we enjoy the beauty of life? Yalla habibi, yeah.
There you go.
Yalla habibi, that's right. Thank you.
Is in the house. Such a sweetheart.
Carl,
such a total sweetheart,
I know he
right?
was.
And Tanera, those Miami vibes.
Love those Miami vibes, man.
And
Just relax.
Trish's. I'm so interested. I'm really interested to see her do that like spoken word masked performance. I'm totally inspired.
She was deep.
Yeah, they were all deep.
Very
it was amazing, yeah.
Yeah, it was so much. So today is Friday Feels, and I want to talk about, because we talk about love and dating relationships, and we have love and a relationship with our work, we have it with our friends, we have it with our lover, whatever that is. But today I want to talk about building extraordinary relationships in dysfunctional times. So I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I have many friends from childhood, from high school, whatever, but as you get older, like, people get busy, and like, how do you really find and create extraordinary relationships?
Great question.
What do you think? Come on.
I mean, to be honest with you, my sort of basic premise and approach to friendships is for me to seek harmony within myself, and then I find that I will experience harmony with other people, whether they experience it with me or not. Does that make sense?
But do you spend time on certain people? You're like, okay, this is somebody who I really vibe with. I'm going to make an effort to.
Whoever's in front of me gets my full attention. That's the only way I think about it. And I don't really try to optimize for long-term relationships with anyone in particular. I just give my best and my most to whoever's in front of me at the time. And yeah, of course, there are certain people like you and like you that I find myself spending more and more time with because there's a natural, easy resonance there. But for me, it's all about presence. I don't try to optimize for too much more than that.
Yeah.
Well, it's really interesting. I read an article on extraordinaryroutines.com about friendship styles. And I think having an understanding of what your friendship style is kind of removes the expectation of how you're building extraordinary relationships, because you're not comparing them to what other friendships or relationships look like. So the first one was a tight knitter. That's like the group of friends, like sitcom style. You've got 6 friends. Those are the only people you hang out with. And that's your tight group, right? Then there's the compartmentalizers, which is me. I have a bunch of small groups of friends that I do different things with. I've got my wine girlfriends, I've got my faith girlfriends, I've got my TV girlfriends, you know, and we do different things together. And they don't usually mix, but I find that I get to explore and express different parts of myself within these different groups. And then there's the one-on-one, the individuals. And those are the people who often feel like they're maybe a little bit lonely because they're only connecting with one individual and they might not have as many groups. But that said, there's different expectations across the board in what that is. So I think it's important to understand what your style is and how you're calling these relationships into your life.
So true. It reminds me of love languages. I think it's very similar in your friendships. And I think that for sure creating intentional, be very, very intentional. For me, I just find that that's what works because I really want to be around people that are on the same mission and up to the same things. Not necessarily the same expression of that, but similar conversations and consciousness. But I'm one of those people that I really love one-on-one. I have very few, very, very intimate friends that I talk to daily and whatever else. But then I have like circles that I, am in that are very extraordinary. But I think that I think you're right, Jez, that I think for me, like a group, like last night, it was so beautiful, and I bonded with so many women. But for me, I would much rather be at dinner with one girlfriend and having like a heartfelt conversation for a couple hours and just going through all of it.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, and I love this sort of delineation that you've sort of identified there, Jez. Really helpful. And I would say that I'm a guy whose style is no style. I don't try to in any way set any intentions for what somebody else should be to me in my life. That's not my intention. Is only to love myself and to love whoever I come in contact with, and whatever comes from sort of develops from that place organically, authentically, effortlessly, and enjoyably, I will receive, and whatever doesn't, I will receive.
But I think it's important to set rituals because whether
the ritual for me is to be present.
Yeah, no, I'm not for you. Yeah. I'm just saying for me it's important because like I have so many different girlfriends and we have reunions like if it may be a couple times a year or in certain girlfriends we're starting to plan monthly things. It's important to come together, but it's different than just. I agree. It's like organic, having no pressure on it for sure.
It is great to have the repeatable kind of experience.
It's also great to have the people in your life that you don't have to be on with. The people you can really just let your hair down and be yourself, and you don't feel like you have to, sit up tall and, put on your best self. You can just be you, and I think it's so important to have those very special people in your life, and those are the friends that really become your family.
Yeah. Do you think it's possible at some point to be that way with everyone, or do you feel like there will always be people that you have to always be on with?
For me, I think there's always going to be people I always have to be on with because that's what kind of I do, right? But that's just me.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. I think, and it's tough, I think, particularly like in the entertainment business, or really any professional, sort of path, you do feel like you have to walk a tightrope sometimes between what you're presenting, this sort of positive perception you're trying to create, and what you deeply, truly inside want to be able to share with people.
Well, and I think you're so good, Rob, because you're constantly in the flow, so you're always on. I think my flow kind of like comes in spurts. So when I'm in the flow, I'm really on. And sometimes I'm not able to always maintain that, so I need to have a glass of wine and take my hair out.
Yeah, it's true. I think that the girlfriends I'm around that I bond the most with, they want to talk about what's going on. They want to know what issues, what you're struggling with, and it's their way of bonding, but it's not like you're coming together complaining. It's very different. It's very intentional to know that, to bond, and to also like hold the space and have any input that's inspirational or whatever around it. So I love that. That's my favorite part of it.
Absolutely, and I love that we each have slightly different styles.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's what makes for such an incredible dream team. Really, it does, because we complement each other so well that way. And by the way, Jez, I've never felt you ever be anything other than in the flow. I know you don't necessarily feel that way, but every time I see you, I feel so, and Erin, of course, I feel so happy and so grateful just to connect with you.
We pay him to say these things.
Yeah.
No, it's just true. It's literally true.
We want to know what works for you, how you're building extraordinary relationships in dysfunctional times. People are lonely. Let's face the fact, that's one of the biggest things that people are dealing with. So we can be around 1 million people, we can have 1 million followers and friends and whatever, and still feel lonely. So how are you creating extraordinary relationships? We want to know.
Yeah, and I will say this, if you're lonely, it's just a question, an invitation to become comfortable with your own aloneness. It is not something that's solved by other people or filling your life up with other people. That is my 20 years of experience with people. That does not work.
Smart man, smart man.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Well, let's take a break and get into these extraordinary interviews about how they love their lives. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Hello, Los Angeles. I am your host and producer, Alex Worley, filming inside Focus TV's West Hollywood studio. Welcome to Empowerista, a show dedicated to highlighting female trailblazers and empowering you to turn your barriers into breakthroughs. Hey guys, I'm Amy Packrat.
And I'm Justin Walter.
And this is What's Good, the show that's dedicated to positive, uplifting news from all over the world.
We are live.
Live from Los Angeles. Welcome to Good Morning LaLaLand. I'm Dr. Erin.
Hi, I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jez Mollier. This is Good Morning LaLaLand, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Now also available on Apple TV and Roku. It's going to be a Good Morning LaLaLand.
Welcome to the very first episode of Sadie Says. I'm your host, Natalie Sadie. Welcome, Daniel Hall. First episode.
I didn't even realize it was your first episode.
Hi, welcome to Dr. Erin Show. It's been a while since we've been here, and I'm so excited because we're going to be talking about discovering your purpose and calling, and I have Elle Russ in the house. Thank you so much for coming all the way down here today.
Hi everyone, and welcome back. I'm your host, Tara Tanner, and this is the Model Mama Show. I'm so excited about our guest today. We have Chelsea Cannell-Briggs, who this is literally a blast from the past, you guys.
It's true.
We haven't seen each other since we worked together at Fox Sports.
Hello and welcome back to the show. I am excited and delighted because we have an amazing guest. So thank you, Jeannie, for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm a fan of both of you.
I'm Jez Mollier, and this is LA Unscripted, and I'd love to welcome to my show Mr. Jacques Silverstein. Thank you so much for being here.
It's my great pleasure to be with you.
This is somebody who went from super nerd to supermodel, so I'm so excited. Let's talk to Anna.
Yes.
Anna, you were the winner of our very first Viva Glam model search.
Yeah, you guys were actually my very first photo shoot.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Reshape. I'm Allie Landry, and I am so thrilled to have our next guest. So I am so grateful that you are here with us at Reshape today.
Thank you, Allie. I'm so happy to see you. And you couldn't look more gorgeous if you tried.
Today's guest is best known for being the fitness guru on 6 seasons of The Biggest Loser. He's a New York Times best-selling author. Dolvet. Dolvet, we don't even say Quince anymore. It's just Dolvet. It's
like one name.
Dolvet.
You are tuning in to Slay with Rachel McCourt, and I have a fabulous guest. In studio with me is Liza Glukoff. She's just been named executive producer of programming at Awesomeness TV. We have perfect lighting. We've got some Spa Girl vodka in case we get a little crazy.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Millennial Life. I'm your host, Laura Odegaard, and today we are joined by the very beautiful former Miss California and now a TV host, Natasha Martinez. I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Hello and welcome to The Joe Show. I'm Josephine, and here on our couch today is none other than the heartthrob of Shahs of Sunset, Shervin.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Ren Wood Show. I am so excited for my guest today. I have the beautiful Bianca Hayes. Thank you so much for being here, Bianca. Give me a hug.
For this episode of Purpose, I'm your host, Brittany Zonker. I'll see you next time.
Hola, yo soy Gina Moreno y soy una reportera aquí en Los Ángeles. Para mí, mi pasión es para decir las historias de las personas que han luchado lo imposible. Todas las entrevistas aquí en Focus TV.
Hi, I'm Gina Moreno, a reporter here in Los Angeles, and my passion is to tell people's stories, the stories of people who have accomplished the impossible. For all the interviews, make sure to watch Focus TV.
live from Los Angeles. Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. I'm so excited to welcome Alexa Felice to the show because everybody deserves love.
Everybody deserves love.
Yeah.
Always,
Yes.
no questions asked.
Well, you're like so loving. You just come in the room and you just feel like, I feel loved just by you walking in.
Well, I'm so happy to be here. So you should feel the love because it's definitely coming off of me. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, one of the things I love about you is the story to why you created this nonprofit.
Right.
So take us back there. You're a model. What happened?
So I'm actually on this incredible cruise, sailing the Mediterranean, and I got a DM in my Instagram, which probably has, I got a message, and I probably had less than 2,000 followers at the time. And someone was just like, I love your shape. I think that you're gorgeous. Can you please model for my new line? And I was like, oh my God, she's so funny. Like, I'm not a model. This girl's crazy. And then I took it. I said yes. And I tried it. I loved it. And it was the feeling that I got after those few gigs where I was just like, wow, I'm beautiful. And my body's great. Like, I have a great body. I love my body. I love myself. How do I get other people to feel this feeling? Like, it wasn't about how do I become more popular or how do I get my next gig. It was like, how do I get everybody the opportunity to feel this feeling? Because it was just, I couldn't even put money on it.
But this is so unique because being a model myself, I've experienced and witnessed so many women who get in front of the camera or step on that runway and they don't love themselves. In fact, they judge themselves more for it. So what was that about you that you were able to have such a positive experience?
Well, because when I look at people like you, who is like the stereotypical model, right? Right. You're gorgeous, you're stunning, you have a beautiful body. But I am just as woman as you are. And so is any other person out there. And you know, you are just as worthy, even though we are completely different in size. There's not enough exposure and there's not enough people talking about how size shouldn't define your beauty or your worth. Neither should your skin color, or if you have freckles, or if you have no freckles, or if
your age,
or your gender, or anything else. You know. And once I kind of accepted that, I also have a twin sister, who is your size, and so I always was raised in that environment where I felt like I wasn't good enough. Like I had to look like her, but she actually disliked her body just as much as I disliked mine, though we were just as different. So it kind of just made me. Once I started modeling, I put all of it into perspective. Like, this is not right, you know?
Yeah.
Like, why do I feel like I have to look like her and she has to look like me because she doesn't have enough this or I have too much and I wanted to start something. So EBDL was born.
We're so programmed into thinking and you know, picture after picture just into our consciousness of what it means to be pretty, what it means to, you know, be thin, all these things. And I totally agree. I think that and as I've matured, it's an energy that comes from somebody that's the most beautiful.
It really is.
And you can have the most beautiful woman and you're like, there's something missing.
Yeah,
like you
especially out here in LA. You see all these beautiful women and then you start a conversation, you're like, oh, wow, that wasn't the best energy exchange, but I thought I was gonna get something way better, you know? And I think that energy, you guys talk about it so often, and you were talking to like being present with the people that you're with, and I think in the modeling industry I've gotten as far as I have as a plus size model because I am very present with the people in front of me. I'm not worried about the girl next to me or, you know, what the other person looks like or if I'm good enough for this casting. I am just in the moment as myself, and whoever's in front of me, I'm just gonna give them my full energy, and if it works, it works, and it doesn't, it doesn't. I did my best, like you said.
How do you protect that energy?
Confidence. Knowing that you are going to fail, you know, you are going to make mistakes, you are going to be judged, you will be looked at differently, and there will be other people that are comparing themselves to you and they'll want to bring you down because of it, but you just can't let that get to you. You just can't. What's made for you is made for you.
I love what you have to say here, and I love your energy. Was it a decision? It was simply, it sounds like for you, just a decision and then a commitment to follow through with that decision to love yourself that allowed you to get where you are today with that.
I think self-love is the answer to life. And I think self-love is self. And if you can choose happiness, if you can choose to love yourself regardless of the things that you don't think you should love, what's left? You know, there's no need to dislike yourself. So I think it's all self-discipline.
It's so interesting. We talk sometimes about this guy Osho, and one of the things he said at some point that I thought was really profound, he said, as long as you're asking how to do something, you're still not fully committed to doing it.
Right.
He said it's just a procrastination technique in so many
Right.
So I love that you're that clear about it. What would you recommend for other people? Is it would you just say that they just need to choose it?
I would say be a doer. Whatever it is in your life that you feel like you need to do because it'll bring you this joy or this happiness or this affirmation that you've been so longing for, just do it. If it works, it works. And if it doesn't, try something new. Don't wait around for somebody to help you fall in love with yourself.
So what is it that you want to do?
Me, I want this. This is I'm living it right now. I want a platform, you know. I just want to encourage other people to start that journey because once you do, it's life happens.
So
you
tell
know?
us about Everybody Deserves Love, the actual platform.
So Everybody Deserves Love became a nonprofit this year. Yay!
Yay,
Official
congrats.
nonprofit. Thank you so much. It happened right after I graduated. I just graduated from Cal State Fullerton with a degree in human services. My track is mental health. And I got picked up from Instagram. Ashley Graham found me on Instagram.
Wow.
And
that works.
Yeah, she found me on Instagram and she saw our page and I went on CBS Undercover Boss, Celebrity Undercover Boss. And I had no idea it was her. It was wild. But at the end of the show, she presented herself and she's like, I love your nonprofit. And she gave us the funds to actually make it a nonprofit in California.
Wow.
Yeah. So thanks to Ashley Graham, EBDL, Everybody Deserves Love is real and it's thriving.
Oh, I love that. That's incredible.
Yeah, so now we're just trying to build the team because I can't do it alone, you know, and now that the world is listening, I want more people to join us, you know, and spread the message.
And coming back to the, you know, the size and the model, overcoming that programming, like I think it's over 50% of Americans are, you know, overweight, if you will, which in my opinion is not ever overweight. It's whatever works for everyone.
Right.
But the point is that this is what is the norm.
It's true.
So
it's true.
Bizarre that the clothing companies aren't saying like, let's fully embrace and love ourselves exactly where we are. And
Absolutely.
so I want to just
Instead
say,
of hating us for
totally,
we're not.
completely. And as a, you know, I'm 46 years old. Like it's age too. Like half of our population is over 50.
That's amazing.
So like, get on with it, guys.
Right. Why are we so shy? Why are we not in front of the camera? Why are we not showing people that aging is a privilege? You know, just being yourself is a blessing. Like no one else is like you. So just be you. Just be you.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank
you so much.
Your energy. Tell people where they can get involved and follow you.
So you can find me on Felice. It's just ALEXA PHELECE, or you can find me on Everybody Deserves Love. It's just Everybody Deserves Love.
I love that.
Awesome.
Anywhere, Facebook, Instagram, we're there.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Everybody deserves love. We'll be back with
You
more on
deserve
Good Morning,
love.
LaLaLand.
Hi everyone, thank you for tuning into This Week in Focus. I'm your associate producer of the Focus TV network, which is America's first video streaming talk show network, but you already knew that. And I got my girl with me,
Jez Moye, co-host of Good Morning LaLaLand.
So last week on the Focus TV network, we had the Renwood Show. On Purpose with Brittany Zonker, we had
the incredible actor Reggie Watkins.
On the LA Home Show with our host Natasha Phillips
was broker extraordinaire Amy Kane.
Yes. On Eyes Up Here with Lindsay Palis, we had
the actress Shai Fontanet.
On Naked Chats with Josh Murray, we had
Sheena Marie from Vanderpump Rules.
Yes, we're also so excited to announce the newest issue of Focus magazine.
And we are lovingly calling it the Romance Issue. We're proud to feature Ms. Tosca Musk on the cover, along with Focus TV family Rob Mack Official.
Yes,
and
our guy.
Lori Harder.
So, speaking of Rob Mack, co-host of Good Morning LaLaLand, Jeslyn Moye, there was a very busy week at Good Morning LaLaLand. Who was on the show?
It was a great week in LaLaLand. On the show, we had two-time Emmy Award-winning producer and actor, Eddie Perez.
Yes.
We also had dating expert Laurel House.
What?
She co-hosts the hashtag Man Whisperer with Rob Mack.
With Rob Mack.
We were really excited to talk tennis with Carrie Lynn. And all the way from Orange County, Rachel Savoda.
Wes Gear was actually here repping his Rock to Recovery event.
And Focus TV with Good Morning LaLaLand was on the red carpet to promote Rock to Recovery 3. We talked to Drew Carey, Jeremy Jackson, Kira Reed-Lorsch was there. Let's take a look at the concert.
Let me hear you say, hell yeah! Say, hell yeah! Ready for the F-bomb? Say, fuck yeah! Now scream! I love you guys. Let's do this.
so much fun. Thank you guys so much for tuning into This Week in Focus. I'm Victoria Simone.
And I'm Jessica Moyer. Don't miss the new issue of Focus magazine.
Welcome back to Good Morning LaLaLand. On this dating, love, and relationship, I love cake. Just saying that we're so excited to have the lady in cake herself, Courtney Rich.
Thank you.
Cake by Courtney. How are you doing?
I'm so good. I am happy to be in my hometown of Los Angeles and being with you guys. This is
So
great.
I have to admit that I actually had a cake addiction. I kid you not, I had a cake addiction like a few years back.
That's not a bad addiction to have, if you ask me.
Every day I was like, where am I to get some cake? Like there's such extraordinary cake in bakeries these days. It's like a thing.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, it absolutely is. But I think from scratch at home is even better. Absolutely. I mean, I go around anytime I travel. So I do a lot of travel for another job in media consulting, and I've been doing that for 13 years. And I go to New York and Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, Atlanta, all over. And every time I go somewhere for work, I'll try a new bakery. But then I compare it to what I can create at home, and I feel like the from scratch is just a little bit better.
Yeah. Right? It's about the whole experience.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I taught myself 9 years ago how to make my first cake. I'd always grown up on box mixes, baking with my mom, creating amazing memories in the kitchen with my mom and my sister and my brothers. And when my son turned 1, so it was almost 9 years ago, I made a cake from scratch. Purely out of intimidation, though, because my in-laws were coming to the party, and they're really good cooks. And I was like, I can't do anything from a box. And so I got a recipe out of Bon Appetit and made my first cake from scratch, and it was literally life-changing. Now, looks-wise, it was a disaster. It was like a brown, round mold. It was not Instagram-worthy, to say the least.
And now your Instagram-worthy cakes are viral.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long process of trial and error. And 3 years ago, I started Cake by Courtney, still while being a mother and doing my consulting job, but wanting to share this love of baking and a passion that I created for myself to share it with other people, because it was bringing me so much joy. It helped me get out of a dark place in my life, and it became my happy place and my safe place in my kitchen. And all of a sudden now I'm doing my own memories with my kids and laughter and just having so much fun with them and my husband, and then sharing that with other people. And that's kind of how Cake by Courtney got started, because I wanted to be able to share those moments with other people and have them feel that love of baking, but also the joy of sharing and creating and accomplishing something new, and that self-satisfaction that they get from doing it. It's been a fun experience.
I have to say, birthdays, like there's nothing better than getting a really good birthday cake. I think over all of the presents, because most of us have everything that we need, a cake is something that if someone baked you a cake, that is like the ultimate.
My son baked me
ultimate love.
My birthday cake last year.
Oh, wow.
Really? It was the best gift. I love baking my own cake, and I have for the last 9 or 10 years. But he insisted that he bake the cake. I didn't help at all. I left him with the babysitter. Went out with my husband. They baked a cake, and she said he did like all of it. He decorated it, and he was so proud to give it to me. He had done the whole thing on his own, and just the pride of accomplishment that I could see in his face. And as he watched me eat a slice of the cake, do you love it? I'm like, oh, it's my recipe. Of course I love it, but yes, you did.
He's like, what
so good.
She likes cake.
Yes, but sharing that and empowering people, men and women, to just try something new, you know, and then they do it and they're like, wait, I can't do this. And that's kind of my whole goal. Like, if I can do it, you can do it.
It's an interesting thing with baking, to learn to trust yourself.
Yeah.
I was wildly intimidated by it.
Absolutely.
I didn't grow up learning how to cook or bake, and so when I made my first cake, I was like high stress.
Yes.
And when I tasted it, I was so relieved, and I thought, I can trust myself with this. That's such an important lesson.
Yeah, and I'm just giving everyone the tools and the tips to be able to do it. I share everything. All my tricks, all my little secrets. They're not secrets because I'm sharing them. It's on my website. I do them in my classes. I share them on TV segments because I just want everyone to experience the joy of being in the kitchen and creating, whether it's a cake or something else.
Absolutely love your business. Of course, I love your energy. And you know, one of the things I find so fascinating is that I'm a firm believer that any experience or activity in your life is a microcosm that you can extract lessons from and apply to the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
Right?
Hey, my favorite one, and this goes great with what Alexa was talking about. In my cake classes, I always encourage people to stop decorating, stop touching the cake when they find one good side. When they find a good side. right? Because not the whole cake is ever going to be totally perfect. I've made hundreds of cakes with buttercream. I don't do fondant. And there's always an imperfection that I wish I just kept fixing and fixing, but when I do, I overwork it and it makes it worse. So I say stop when you have a good side. Focus on the good side. Turn the back side around, take the picture of the good side. Don't worry about it. It's kind of like in our own lives. Focus on what's good. And so there's a message on my Instagram that also I think just intertwines with let's live a happy life and be kind to ourselves, be kind to others. Totally agree that like those friendships build when we're starting with ourselves and we're happy with ourselves and trying to work on ourselves, being the best that we can and seeing the best in other people. And so I kind of share that through cake a little bit, which is really fun.
Through cake.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a profound principle, and if you were to just apply it to relationships alone, that one principle would allow you to have happy, harmonious relationships with everyone in the entire world, because you'd only focus on the aspects of them that felt good to you.
Yeah, and I think too, like helping someone find a passion. So maybe they find it in cake like I did and baking, but maybe they're inspired to try something new after watching some of my stuff, and then they're just kind of starting to live their own best life, and they're focusing on their strengths and their accomplishments rather than their weaknesses and what they can't do. And when we start saying I am and I can, that reflects on everyone around us and all our relationships around us.
For sure.
And we can celebrate by eating cake.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So tell people
always.
where they can find you.
Cakebycourtney.com and Cake by Courtney on Instagram.
All right.
Easy.
Thank you so much, Courtney.
Thanks for having me.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more. Good morning, La La Land. Drum roll, please. Part of the Focus TV family, Ms. Kelly Gores is gracing the cover this month. She is the filmmaker behind the Heal documentary. We have a very special interview with Mr. Mark Teschner, Ellen Racketon, and of course some incredible people. We have a special video about it as well. It's very near and dear to my heart because this issue I actually was the managing editor.
You did so much work, Jazz.
Yeah,
Big shout out to Andy and you and everyone that has been involved for sure.
Thank you, Andy, for the opportunity to be such an active part in this community.
Speaking of empowerment, Jeslyn, you crushed it.
Right?
Oh,
Boy,
thanks, Rob.
you are a power player, girl.
I really appreciate that. I couldn't do it without the both of you. You are my enlightenment. You are my life school every morning. So thank you for letting me be a part of your community.
So for people that haven't seen the documentary, let's just give them a little overview of what is the documentary. We're going to show the trailer in a minute, but from your perspective, tell them a little bit about it.
Yes. So the film is basically showing people how incredible the body is and how we're designed to heal, and how big of an impact our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions have on our physical body. So as you guys were mentioning before, those 9 healing essentials that people, tapped into, only 2 of them are physical. The rest were mental, emotional, and spiritual. So that I look at as kind of the ratio for what you need. If you want to heal physically, you really need to bring in the emotional and mental factors. And we see it in the placebo effect, how what you believe affects your biochemistry and your physiology. So belief and the mind-body connection is very powerful.
Good morning, La La Land, and we have the huge honor of being with Lillian Garcia.
Oh my God.
This month, gracing the cover of the Influence issue
Look at
of
that.
Focus magazine. Thank you so much for
that's
being
a beautiful
here.
picture.
So gorgeous.
Holy crow. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is really crazy. I mean,
it's beautiful.
You guys have no
It is.
idea what this means to me.
It does?
Yeah, it does. I tear up like so easy sometimes, but no, this is great. Thank you.
Of course. The cover, gorgeous,
Oh my
gorgeous
God, that
cover.
is so awesome.
And we have another little surprise for you, which is your article within the magazine.
This is
and
so
the cover.
amazing. Holy moly, what is
The
going
real
on? Oh my
biggie.
God.
Oh,
When I'm out of town, I will leave that for my husband.
Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. You've seen him in the New York Times, on Forbes, and now he's here on Good Morning La La Land. Sterling Hawkins, master innovator, entrepreneur, businessman, keynote speaker. Thank you for being with us.
And
this morning.
futurist.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show,
Great to be with you guys.
So good to see you.
Futurist. Erin brings up an important hat you wear. What does it mean to be a futurist?
It's really about looking at what's next. I mean, I deal with a lot of technologies, like all the buzzwords, right?
Yeah.
3D printing and IoT and artificial intelligence, of course, right? And it's starting to understand where are those things taking us as a culture and getting out ahead of it.
Where are they taking us?
That's a great question, right? Yeah, well, it happens inside of businesses, and it happens inside of business cultures. And so what I do is I work with entrepreneurs and really large companies to help them understand how they can start to shift their cultures to embrace some of these new tools, because they're transformative changes, right? If we live in a world where cars all drive themselves,
right?
Life is different, but you have such an important message, and I want to make sure the world hears it. And your mic is on mute. I'm just going to go ahead and let's get this out of your pocket.
Yeah, we need to turn that thing on. Huh?
We need to slide that baby over, because I want the world to know what you are saying, because it is so important, and you're really just at the forefront of so many incredibly motivated startups. And what is it that you're looking for to be a part of?
Yeah, well, I think so often we settle for incremental growth, right? The GDP growth last year in the US was something like 2.5%.
Wow.
Which is great, right? Like, I don't want to diminish what that is, but at the same time, I don't know if that's hugely inspiring to anybody. Or you take cancer survival rates. It's something like cancer survival rates are up 2.5%, 3% last year. Again, great news. And I don't want to diminish any of that, but at the same time, with the exponential growth of these technologies, they're kind of on that proverbial hockey stick, right? So much more is possible.
It's so interesting because I've been around a lot of major group leaders, women leaders lately, and this is the common theme that they're talking about. All of them are saying, I'm ready to give up everything I've been building, and what they've built is huge, and go to a level that I've never gone before. So have you gone, I mean, obviously through technology we do this, but you personally, have you taken an exponential, like major?
I think it's about pushing the comfort zone. You guys have been talking a little bit about it already this morning, right? And I'm always looking for something to kind of push that boundary of what I think is possible. For example, this is like a month ago, not even, I'm not a cyclist, but my brother was like, oh, let's do this Century Ride, which is a 100-mile bike ride.
No joke.
Whoa.
Right, and my first response was, I can't do that, right?
Yeah.
So I signed up. And long story short, I did some training and actually finished that ride with a whole bunch of friends and family. Thank you. Thank you. Like halfway through, I was sure I wasn't going to make it, but it was like bumping up against that wall and then doing something about it.
We talk a lot about that in the supply and demand, that there's a life force that we have that can, upon demand, we're able to, create the fifth finger, right? We're able to do things that we never, it's that runner's, second wind, it's those things. And so what is that for you? What is your why? Why the hell did you do 100 miles? I don't know why you would do that, so.
Well, because so much more is possible for all of us. And if we start looking at our lives kind of through the front windshield, instead of looking into the back of, well, what did I do last year? And what did I do 6 months ago? What did I do a week ago? And then shooting for, well, I'm going to do 5% better than that, or I'm going to make 20% more next year. We don't have to live in a world that's so rear-view facing, that's so survival based. We can start looking ahead of ourselves and say, yeah, I'm going to push the comfort zone. I'm going to look at what's next, and yeah, it's going to be totally uncomfortable.
Yeah, we don't like linear shit around here. This is LALALAND. We think big, we think extraordinary, we think that's the whole point. It's dreamers and shakers,
So is that, would you say that's the key then to taking sort of a quantum leap, and landing the quantum leap is just sort of breaking through the limited beliefs that you have about what's possible?
Yeah, there's no question about it. And the thing is, whether I finish that bike ride or not, whether you do that thing that you think is impossible or not, the fact that you showed up and tried to do it makes new things available to you.
For sure.
So take me back to young Sterling. What
Yeah.
What's an 8-year-old Sterling sees his future?
Yeah. I think 8-year-old Sterling was too busy taking apart his sister's go-karts. So.
She had a go-kart?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was taking it apart too.
Yeah, I was always taking things apart and making new things from them. At 8 years old, they were totally unusable things. I think I turned the go-kart into a weed whacker or something.
Oh man,
right?
Poor sister.
But that's innovation.
It is. It is. And what's kind of cool looking back on that is, well, yeah, it was unusable, but all of a sudden I had taken something that had a purpose and looked at it a totally different way. And that's where innovation happens. It's in the thinking.
Where do you think you learned that, or were you born with it?
That's a great question. I think it's something that I've seen myself I've been through a number of different business iterations, some super successful things, some really catastrophic failures. And it's through kind of watching myself and how I'm interacting with these things, I've kind of crafted, well, what I am today. So I don't really think I was born with it. I think it's something that was really intentionally built, and everybody can do that.
So let's talk about technology for a minute.
Yeah.
What do you think in the industry is the most exciting?
Yeah, well, artificial intelligence, massive. I was at a trade show a couple of months ago, and every single booth said artificial intelligence, AI, machine learning, right? It's the buzzword. But how AI is helping us drive cars, manage stores, interact with our phones and buying things is really kind of what's next, and how AI gets integrated into everything that we do.
But how do we not lose ourselves with that integration and this interpersonal connection that we're striving for in our relationships, in our friendships?
Yeah, this is a lot of what I talk about, because we're not building these technologies so we live in a world that a term can take over. We're building them so we can have, humanity can have better lives.
Right. And that is such a great question, Jazz, and it's such a, I love sort of where this is heading, because we know that in the last 50, 60 years, we've experienced more technological advancement than we have ever before in the history of mankind. Yeah. And at the same time, we have more anxiety disorder, we have more depression, we have more suicide, we have more violence in lots of ways. Yeah. So that despite the fact that life has gotten better objectively, people feel worse for it subjectively. Yeah. So if things are speeding up even more than that, what do you think we can do or should do in order to keep up to speed with that on the inside?
It's a great question, because we live in a really incredible world today, right? Most of us have very fortunate circumstances, especially when you compare what the world was like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, right? And what that has afforded us is comfort. And if we're only living in comfort, if we're only doing those things that we know we already can do, well, then you've got time to, let me say, indulge in some of those things that take you down paths that aren't very productive, versus continually kind of being on that line between things that you know and things that you don't know, like that chaos and worry of the unknown. And walking that line, it does take something, right? Yeah. But you have to like get out of bed in the morning and be like, okay, like today I'm gonna make myself uncomfortable. How am I gonna do that?
Well, and from a spiritual standpoint, technology is really the magnetism of our use of energy. So we're able to create instantaneously. We're able to go to the other side of the world through, the vortex in an instant. But we're also, so it's like our use of energy to create heaven or hell is magnified through the technology. So how we use it. So I believe that this time is like we have all this innovation, all this amazing things, but if you don't use it instead of it using you, you will have major issues.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love the idea of using technology in the service of peace and happiness and love and subjective well-being. I think it's an incredible opportunity.
There's no question. And the opportunity only comes because there is also that risk. Right? If you take something like nuclear power, like yes, it can do incredible things, and it can also do devastating things. And it's to access the upside, we have to be willing to go on the edge a little bit, risk something.
Take chances.
A little bit, right?
Hands-free.
Don't go too crazy though.
I love it. Well, it's such a pleasure to meet you. So where can people find your talks, work with you, all the above?
SterlingHawkins.com is the best place to find all my social media, and my Instagram is Sterling_Hawkins.
Love it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
your time and your life with us, Sterling. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more. Good morning, La La Land. So tell us a little bit about how it differs from other ride-sharing platforms like Lyft or Uber.
Sure. So with Opoly, you can schedule ahead of time. By scheduling ahead of time, you never have to wait for your driver. We're serving over about 100 airports throughout the country. I've been in this industry for 20 years. I understand what it takes to pick up somebody from their home, take them to the airport, or take anywhere else. It is a huge responsibility. What we wanted to do, we wanted to come in and standardize and professionalize the service.
Uber's changed so much. Lyft, it all changes and morphs so much, and I believe that there's an ethics to it, and that what really will remain is what really has the best relationship with the consumer?
It's all about ethics. Ethics becomes big responsibility.
Well, thank you for giving us that mobility and that peace. Tell everyone how they can download Opoly and get a ride with you.
Okay, all you gotta do is go to iTunes or download your Opoly app. And by the way, you can have a promo code called Opoly1, and they will get to go for free ride.
Did you hear that, everyone? Download Opoly.
It's 2018. You can't do that anymore.
Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. So excited to talk to Dr. Kate Seuss in the house. She is a preventative medicine and implant advocate, illness advocate, and biohacking. So let's talk about, we got some stuff to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, you are the chicest biohacker. I don't know what biohacking even means, but I'm going to take it. So tell us about what you do.
Okay, so, well, firstly, I'll talk about what biohacking is. The concept is sort of this, you know, innovative, you're looking to optimize and feel as good as possible. So some people get into it because they're already into like athleticism and pushing their limits, but other people get into it because they don't feel very good and they're looking for pretty much anything that they can to give them that like extra. So I think for me, that's kind of why I know so much about so many different modalities, was from going through my own, you know, struggles with just not feeling my best. So.
Right. Yeah. Right now I'm doing a ketogenic just for a minute because I feel I need more fat for my brain and for everything. And I was one of those on the terrible diet in the 90s where we had no fat whatsoever. Right. We messed up everything. And I still feel like my fat intake is low. I want to try and do the ketos. I've never done it before, and it's been interesting. I feel fine.
Yeah, how long have you been doing it?
Not very long. I don't even know if I've totally gone into the ketogenic state yet because it's only been like 4 days.
Oh, okay. So there's definitely some ways you can like speed that up using exogenous ketones, but we can talk more about that later.
Awesome. So tell us some tips on how to biohack our lives.
Okay, well, let's see. I think something really popular that we work with a lot in my clinic is IV therapy, but we're doing a lot with different vitamins. However, I will say that's not like going to give you the long-term solution. It's more like a crutch, you know, if you're doing really bad in the moment and you need like that extra boost, but it's really gonna come from the daily nutrition, the things that you're taking into your body like on a regular basis, and then making sure that it absorbs. So it's
helps with a hangover, not necessarily with long-term lifestyle issues.
I've seen it on Instagram. You know, the celebrities with the drip right in there for hangovers or performance, whatever it might be, or just pure exhaustion.
Totally. Of course, and there are certain things that you can do through an IV that will give you like a 2 to 3 week boost in energy, stuff like that. But yeah, I think the best, easiest, most inexpensive biohack I could recommend to pretty much everyone on the planet would be water fasting. Research shows if you do a good, even 24 hours, but the research has done it 48 hours of water alone, it just completely resets your entire immune system.
Wow.
And gives your body a break, so the liver and gallbladder and kidneys can clean themselves.
It's
they're
very
not
dangerous, though. My father's a naturopath, and he talked about water fasting. He said it's one of the most gnarly things, and that people will go into there's a name for it, I can't remember. But basically, they get a place where they just get so sick because they have so many toxins, and so in the water fast is like very extreme.
So if you are suffering from chronic illness and you have a lot going on, I would recommend doing a supervised water fast in their facilities. Like there's a great one in NorCal where they do that, where they're monitoring you. They have a full staff. You're right, it can be very intense, but it's the same thing if those people who have all those toxins, like you mentioned, when they do these commercial detox blends where they're taking in like herbs and different amino acids that push detox, they can have the same thing happen. And that's something that I've seen with a lot of women with breast implant illness, because their system is overloaded with all these chemicals and toxins that their body has sort of been storing into tissues over the many years that they have the implant. So when they explant, their body immediately starts to detox, so they can't handle like an official detox because it's too intense.
This is such an important conversation, especially with Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and really try.
Yes.
And so many women in my life who have had implants after about 8-10 years have just become chronically ill, chronically fatigued. They're not feeling right, and their intuition is saying something is wrong here.
Right. Yeah.
Well, but a lot of doctors aren't even listening to that.
Yes.
And they're being told they're crazy.
Yes. Yes. So that's part of why I'm here. There's a huge movement of women who understand breast implant illness, who are on board, who are spreading the word. But really, like, we're here today for all of the women who don't know that they have breast implant illness, who are suffering from various, autoimmune diseases, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, who go to their primary doctor or maybe go to their plastic surgeon because maybe they've heard and they're told that they have an anxiety disorder, or the pain is in their head, or it's normal to feel, or they just have an autoimmune disease and no one's linking it to their implants. So, as far as empowerment, like I want to encourage everyone to just get informed and not to give up, and not to give up on your body or like accept subpar kind of condition.
So what are some of like the telltale symptoms that you're witnessing in the patients who do have this illness?
So I'll focus on what the FDA says is a complication, since we're going to be like research and fact-based here, which would be, if you go on the FDA fact sheet for Mentor, silicone implants, it says under complications within 3 years that 1 in 300 women can develop something called anti-nuclear antibodies, which is early marker for connective tissue disorders like lupus and such. So like we have a young woman in our office right now who's dealing with this, and it started after the silicone, so she's having widespread pain, and that showed up on her labs. It's the only thing abnormal, so we're hoping to help her.
But it's interesting too, I think, for patients to recognize that intuition isn't FDA approved, but you need to trust your body. No, seriously.
So well said.
That's very important. You know your body better than anyone, and better than the doctor that's sitting in front of you. And if something is telling you something isn't right, listen to that. Whatever it might be, even if your symptoms aren't on that list, you know yourself. It's important. Get a second, get a third opinion.
Yeah, I totally. And even like thinking about your own journey, surveying the past, like looking back where you were maybe before you had them, and like what were you doing? What did you feel like every day? And kind of, making that little audit of maybe what has changed, because it's easy to settle in and get used to feeling a certain way, especially when it sneaks up on you over time.
So I'm curious to know, because implants are, there's different types of implants, but then there's women that are putting all of the injections in their face. Isn't that the same, because it's made out of plastics, isn't it?
No, so there's a lot of different things you can use for the face. The most common thing is like Juvederm, which is a hyaluronic acid based molecule. So that's a molecule that's naturally occurring in the body, and it kind of draws in water and like gives that plumping effect. And so they figured out a way to cross-link it, but it's very different than silicone. And in the manufacturing of silicone, they're using a lot of heavy metals like mercury and lead and arsenic and platinum and aluminum, and like tons of neurotoxic chemicals, this is all like publicly available information. Facial filler is just hyaluronic acid, so there's no added chemicals. And then there's other forms we could discuss, and they have dangers and complications for different reasons. But I'm not seeing them having a systemic effect on like your overall health or turning on some of these bad genes.
Interesting,
because fillers are typically what's already naturally occurring in your body. It's just almost like putting them on steroids, right?
Yeah, of course. It's like a controlled effect, for sure.
Maybe not the Botox. That's a whole other conversation.
So that would be another conversation. But again, Botox is administered locally. It can have effect on the liver. So if you are having dysfunction, I'm not going to like recommend. But there's a lot of uses for Botox that like don't get talked about. Like we have a patient who uses it to control rectal spasms that she suffered after getting a mesh inserted in her body, which basically adhesed and caused the nerves to entrap, and so she has no control over that without Botox. So there's situations where you have to kind of pick the lesser of two evils, I suppose.
So true.
What sparked your interest originally in biohacking?
Own experience with having breast implants. Before I went to medical school, I worked as a bottle hostess at a nightclub, and I had a clothing company, and I was doing like nothing remotely medical. And then I got implants, and about 9 months later, I was having like systemic pain and like fatigue and neurological symptoms and like a tremor, which I still haven't been able to get rid of, which I'm way too young for. And there wasn't a lot of solution, so I just decided to kind of go my own path and figure it out.
So sorry you had that experience.
No,
but
it's
so
great.
deeply grateful that you're offering up your services to people that need them so badly.
For sure.
Yeah.
Just all of us.
Yeah, and it's interesting, like as a man, I don't know how do you interact with this topic? Like what do you think about with?
listen mostly, you know, and process. I mean, I think for me, my highest purpose is to help people feel good. And to do that in ways that have the least amount of side effects humanly possible. That's why for me, I focus mostly on meditation and things of that nature. But I'm just, I'm a lifelong learner. So I appreciate you sharing all this.
Yeah, great. Okay.
Absolutely.
But we appreciate your work, knowing that we totally are in belief of the body can do miracles, and if we get out of the way, or if we cleanse and make sure we don't too many toxins, whatever that may be, always better to go with the pure route for sure.
Yes.
Well, thank you for being here and for sharing your time and your light with us. Tell everyone where they can find and follow you.
At Dr. Kate on Instagram.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Nice to meet you. LaLaLand.
Welcome back to Good Morning LaLaLand here on Friday Feels. I'm feeling the Fridays right now. How about you guys?
Absolutely. Feeling so good. So good.
Right?
It's a vibe.
So I do have a question. We have a question of the day, really, which is just what you've learned over the course of your life about love or self-love, right? So maybe we'll start with
Not a little.
Me first.
Yes.
Do we need to use this?
Right.
Yeah? No?
Looks good.
Looks good. Yeah. Well, I've learned that we're the most important people.
Yeah.
Like you, each of us, right? And really understanding yourself, however you get acquainted with yourself, is the most important thing. And whether you wake up and do yoga in the morning, or you've had surgery or not had surgery, or push the boundary or not, it's getting comfortable with exactly how you are and exactly what is in this moment.
Oh, love that.
Yeah. I'm with you on the presence.
That's the one thing I know I can control. There's so many other things about life that are unpredictable and unexpected, and I've learned it's a very poor bet to, it's, you know, sort of a bad bet to sort of bet on the future as opposed to the present. I just want to do everything.
Absolutely.
Control
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And that's a futurist telling you that.
Yeah. Very well said.
Yeah.
Very well said. Yeah. What about you?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, just what do you know about love? What do you know about love? Or self-love?
Self-love. I can talk about self-love all day. I think one of the most life-altering things for me when it comes to the idea or the existence of self-love is that it's important. Like, that was the biggest lesson, is that it is important. It is vital to your existence. If you don't focus on self-love and you don't look inwards first, you're never gonna really find your way to a good present or a good future. So yeah, that's my final answer. Self-love is important. Don't forget about it.
Everybody deserves it.
Everybody deserves love. Yes, thank you. You're like the best plug. You're better than I am. She's hired. She's getting a t-shirt for sure. For sure.
All right, so to sort of branch from that, which I totally agree, not only is love important for everyone, but it's also available to everyone. Like, no matter who you are, it's always right there, and it's something that, it's almost chemical in your body, like releasing those hormones, feeling those sensations, and it can transmute anything. Whether you're like afraid or scared or alone, that's always something you can tap into. If you
Definitely, it's so true.
All right, for me, I would say, I mean, self-love starts within, but also started with my relationship with God and knowing that a Heavenly Father loves me for who I am. And I deeply believe that. I know that he loves each and every one of us, and when we can feel that ourselves, we feel our own love, we can appreciate ourselves, and that reflects on the people around us.
Oh, love that. Life is the greatest gift itself, isn't it?
It is.
Absolutely. We are Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. And you can catch all your favorite interviews as a podcast on iTunes.
That's right. We're waking up the world together. Have a beautiful weekend, you guys. Like, share, comment, support the people that you love.
It's going to be a Good Morning La La Land.
Bye.